Welcome to this week's tarot tutorial where I break down the hidden messages and meaning of the tarot one card at Welcome to this week's tarot tutorial where I break down the hidden messages and meaning of the tarot one card at a time in a very simple bite-sized way. These videos are designed for you to participate and actively learn tarot by creating a keepsake reference book by the end of the series. I'm Heather, and whether this is your first time visiting my channel or you are a longtime subscriber, thank you for joining the pack. In today's video, we are going to be breaking down the symbolism and interpretation of Judgment. If you find value in today's video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and it tells me what kind of content you want to see more of. Now let's jump right into our learning all about Judgment. Okay, so this is when we take out our glue stick and we glue our card down. So just give me a moment. I just want to make sure that my book is properly in the camera there. And we're going to glue this card down. Okay. Trying to be a little bit more creative in how I write them on the paper. Okay, so there we go. We have Judgment here, and I'm just going to turn this a bit sideways here. Okay, so we're going to start with the card description, and for Judgment here, what we see is we see Archangel Gabriel, and Gabriel is blowing a trumpet with a white flag and a red cross that is attached to it. There is a light or halo around the angel, and the sky is blue and bright. The dead, representing all ages and genders, are rising from their coffins, naked with outstretched arms. Their faces are turned up to the angel, and there are large mountains that you see here in the background. So we're going to start by looking at the interpretation of the angel or Archangel Gabriel. So I'm just going to put that, where am I going to put that? I'm going to put it over here because there's a lot of other little sections underneath the angel. We'll do the trumpet and we'll do the flag with the red cross and the halo and or light around the angel at the same time here. So the angel slash Archangel Gabriel. Okay, so the Archangel Gabriel represents divine judgment, awakening, and the call to a higher purpose. The angel's trumpet signals a spiritual awakening or the need for transformation. So we're just going to start. It's divine judgment, awakening, call to higher purpose. Okay, and then we're going to look at the trumpet. So I kind of alluded to that a little earlier. So the trumpet represents an awakening, a call to action. This is the time of reckoning where one is being called to rise up, take action, and face a new phase of life or a higher state of consciousness. So this is a wake-up call. It is a call to action. Reckoning. Face a new phase of life slash higher state of consciousness. Okay. And then we're going to be talking about the red flag with the, or sorry, the white flag with the red cross on it. So flag with red cross. So the cross on the angel's banner represents spiritual guidance, rebirth, and salvation, as well as the merging of the earthly and divine realms. The cross is associated with sacrifice and resurrection, suggesting that this is a time of transformation, renewal, and redemption. So, spiritual guidance, rebirth, salvation, merging earthly and divine realms, cross associated with sacrifice and resurrection. Um, Time of renewal, transformation, and redemption. And then finally, we look at the light or the halo around the angel. So I'm just going to write halo here. In some cards, you can clearly see a halo around the angel's head, and other times it's just a brightness around the angel. So this represents enlightenment and divine guidance, that your guides, your angels, your higher self are bringing clarity and higher wisdom to you for your spiritual awakening. So I'm just going to put divine guidance. Um, and I'm going to put spirit team. um, Bringing clarity for spiritual awakening. Okay. The next thing that we're going to focus on is these rising figures that are rising up from their graves with their outstretched hands and looking up at the angel here. So the rising figures, what you're going to notice about them is they're in their graves, they're rising out from the graves. And this symbolizes rebirth, resurrection, and the awakening of the soul for a brand new beginning. This image reflects the idea of spiritual renewal and the answer to a higher calling. The figures are shedding the old self and emerging anew in an enlightened state of being. So I'm just going to put rising figures. And again, rebirth, resurrection, um, answering higher calling, shedding old self, and emerging anew in a an enlightened state. Okay. And then the other thing you're going to notice about the figures is that they're naked. So I'm going to talk about that now. The fact that they're naked, this represents vulnerability and truth. This is a time of returning to a pure, unencumbered state where one is ready to shed their own identity or their old identity and to embrace new experiences and truths. So I'm just going to put nakedness. So vulnerability and truth. Shed old identity to embrace new truths and experiences. Okay. Another thing that you're going to notice about the naked figures is that they're all genders, they're all ages and walks of life as well. And this indicates that this is a sense of inclusiveness and universality, that the call to awaken and transform is available to everyone, regardless of your age, your gender, or stage, or even status in life. So I'm just going to put ages, gender of figures. So inclusiveness and universality of awakening. Transformation available to all. Okay. And then you'll also see that they have these open arms. So this open arms suggests a readiness and acceptance to embrace the new phase, or this new phase of life, and to also accept the call for resurrecting oneself through transformation and renewal. So open arms and readiness slash acceptance to embrace new phase and transformation and renewal. Okay. Okay, so another thing that I want to look at and talk about is the coffins that they're coming out of. So the coffins, the graves, sometimes it's just graves, not coffins. In this case, you can actually see the physical structures of the coffins here. So I'm going to put coffins slash graves. And these represent the ending of one phase and the beginning of another. This is a time of letting go of the past to embrace the future. And the graves really highlight the cyclical nature of life and death, of personal transformation and rebirth. So, cyclical nature of life, death slash death, comma, personal transformation slash rebirth. Okay. And then we also have in the picture, the sky is very clear, very blue. So blue sky. And the blue sky represents divine presence and clarity. This is a time of enlightenment and new understanding. So blue sky, divinity, comma, clarity, comma, time of enlightenment and new understanding. Okay. And now we're going to look at the numerology. And the numerology, this is the number 20 that we have up here. And this is the number of spiritual awakening. It's spiritual awakening, judgment, completion, and rebirth. So this is about facing the consequences of past actions and moving toward higher understanding and enlightenment. So It's the number 20, so I'm just going to put number. It looks like a dollar sign 20. And this is spiritual awakening, comma, judgment, comma, completion, and rebirth. Uh, facing consequences of past actions and moving toward higher understanding and enlightenment. Okay, and then we have the astrology. And in astrology, the judgment is associated with the planet Pluto, and Pluto is all about that's the planet of death, rebirth, or death, transformation, rebirth. So Pluto, and this is death, transformation, rebirth, which is exactly what we see going on in the card. And now we're going to look at our interpretation. So I'm just going to put interpretation up here. I'm going to move that over a little bit. Okay. So the interpretation here that we have of the card, judgment represents it. This is an awakening. This is self-reflection and the call to evolve spiritually. It signals a time of reckoning and evaluation where you are asked to confront your past actions and learn from them. This card calls for you to rise to a higher level of consciousness, releasing past burdens and embracing your spiritual calling. It can indicate a time of renewal and rebirth where you have the opportunity to transform your life. Think of it as a do-over. In a career reading, judgment speaks to a career where one derives a sense of purpose or service to others, where one feels they're making a difference in the world or in the lives of other people. In a relationship reading, judgment indicates that your connection to another or to your partner has a very deep spiritual bond. If the individual is single, then this indicates that the individual is very in tune with the kind of long-term relationship that will meet their needs mentally, emotionally, intellectually, physically, and spiritually, and is willing to wait for the right person to come along. In a health reading, judgment indicates that one's health is really tied to their spiritual health, and that things like non-Western practices such as meditation, yoga, or even connection with nature can help to improve one's health. So, interpretation. This is an awakening, self-reflection, call to evolve spiritually, reckoning and evaluation of past actions, consequences, and learning from them. Release past burdens and embrace spiritual calling. Time of renewal and rebirth through transformation. Okay. And then the reversed interpretation, reversed. Okay, so when you see judgment reversed, this individual is either unaware of or is unwilling to acknowledge the implications and consequences of their actions. They may act hastily or without contemplation of how their actions will impact others. And reversed judgment may also indicate that the individual just has no sense of purpose or direction, and they are spiritually closed off. Their spiritual purpose is being ignored. For this individual, happiness and satisfaction with their life are fleeting and unstable. One day they might be happy and feeling connected and fulfilled, while the next day they feel empty or very like depressed or even apathetic. So reversed is unaware or unwilling to acknowledge consequences of actions. Spiritually closed off. No sense of purpose. Um, Happiness and satisfaction are fleeting. Okay, and there we have it. That is our judgment card right there. Thank you for joining me today on your path of learning. Join me next week when we dive into the world. If you found today's video informative, fun, or both, please like, share, subscribe, and check out my free monthly and weekly tarot readings. Have a fabulous week.